Welcome back, All Sports Western New York. We have with us now, pleasure to say, Dave Jickster from 97 Rock, DJ Jickster. And, of course, you do such great work with 97 Rock, but the thing that you've been wholeheartedly into over the past 3 or 4 weeks has been Jim Kelly's health and trying to help him feel better in whichever way you can. And we want to have you come in here and give us a status report because you just got back from New York City literally a day ago.
Yeah, a few of his close friends, myself, Dave Irwin from Advantage Limousine, who's been driving Jim around since 1986, and one of his other good friends, Pat Sheridan, went down and surprised him and brought that big card that we had on the set here a few weeks ago. And he was very thrilled to get the card. And there's the card right there. And just a lot of great stories of everybody who signed that card, whether it was Mayor Byron Brown or Congressman Higgins or you or Bills fans. Everyone's telling me a story about Jim. And I actually took it. There's Mary Wilson signing it right there.
Yeah, tell us about your experience with Mary Wilson.
I asked the Buffalo Bills if it was okay if I could bring Jim's Get Well card to Ralph's memorial service at the Fieldhouse. And Russ Brandon said, sure, no problem. Took the card there. And the fans there was a line a mile long to sign that card. It was just unbelievable. And Mary Wilson came up to me and she introduced herself and she goes, I just want to thank you for bringing that card. And I thought that was so great. Here's a memorial service for her husband. And she's like, thank you so much for bringing the card. Can I sign it?
She is an extremely classy individual.
Unbelievable. I couldn't, what a very pleasant experience with that lady. Nothing but class. So, I was only going to stay there for an hour, just have some signatures, but the line was so long to sign the card, I ended up staying the entire time. And then I had a flight to catch.
And there's Frank Reich. So, of course, and Frank went to see Jim, too.
Yeah, and I actually ran into Frank the next day. I flew out that night. But I'm actually carrying the card to my car, and fans were following me to my car to sign the card. So I took it to Jim, and Jim was just pleasantly surprised. There were like 5 pages. There was a little picture collage of everywhere the card has been. And
how'd you get on the airplane?
That's a great story too. There's the crew at JetBlue. I asked if I could check it, or better yet, if I could bring it on the plane because people still wanted to sign it at the airport. And they said, well, hold on one second. And they actually had a couple empty seats in the plane, right in the middle of the plane. So it actually looked like Jim's card actually bought a seat because they actually strapped it right into the seat. It was pretty cool. And people did sign it. People getting on the airplane signed it. There was a taxi cab driver in New York that didn't speak any English that wanted to sign the card. I mean, it was just a very. It's too bad he has the card now because I was having so much fun.
So Jill has been obviously very public with this. She's been putting out tweets and Facebook posts and Instagram, and she's excellent at social media. That's for sure.
She is.
And her daughter Erin has been doing much of that too. But you had a chance to actually talk to Jim. The pictures we see, it looks like Jim's spirits have been lifted quite a bit over the last 2 weeks when he looked like he was in a lot of pain. What's the latest?
He's still in a lot of pain. It comes and it goes. He's much better off than what he was. Better off where he could check out of the hospital, and he was actually in his hotel room is where we came to visit him. His spirits are good. Bruce and Andre been there, Frank Reich, Dan Marino, Boomer Esiason. And his brothers have been there the entire time. Erin, his oldest daughter, who goes to Liberty University in Richmond, flies in on weekends to spend time with him. Cameron hasn't been there as much as, of course, she wants to be, only because she goes to Christian Central Academy and she needs to be in school.
Right.
But his family and friends have been around him, and he perks up when his friends come walking in the room. He perks up and really enjoys the company. Now, I know this week he's starting radiation and chemo, so I don't know. That might make you tired, and he might not want to spend.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's had a family member, or have you gone through it yourself, both are very serious treatments. Both take a toll on your body, and to have to do that regimen for 6 or 7 weeks is really. I mean, we all know how tough Jim is. He's going to have to be extremely tough to just deal with the cure of the disease. One of the things that really strikes me is the faith that they have as a family and as individuals. They're handling this, I think, at least about as well as I guess could ever be expected.
Jill and Erin are rocks with their faith, and it's unbelievable. I want to be as strong as they are. It's just amazing. And Jim is so strong too. And Jim said, God has a plan. Whatever his plan is, I'm ready for it. Whether he's going to make it through, which we all hope he does,
Right.
or whatever. I mean, Jim is just taking this in stride. It's just amazing.
We were talking before we went on the air, and we both shared the story that we were both relieved to hear his physician put in a public statement that not only was this extremely treatable, but potentially curable, because everybody is fearing the worst, but to hear a doctor put his name to that, I think gives us some comfort.
Absolutely. To have that hospital release that statement saying this is potentially curable made me feel like the hospital is stepping up to the plate and going to fix this problem.
Before we run out of time, how did you become such good friends with Jim Kelly? I mean, there's a lot of people that know Jim Kelly. There's a lot of people who are friendly with Jim Kelly. How did you become such close friends with Jim?
When he was dating Jill, his wife now, I was good friends with Jill's father, Jerry Wagner, from Attica. And he got me a gig playing music at Jim's house after a party in 1996. And I've been DJing all his parties ever since then, and obviously became good friends with him in that process.
I was at a few of those parties. Those were pretty nice parties.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure when he gets through this, there's going to be a lot more. There's going to be one big one. I can tell you that.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. And he is a very close friend of mine, and I'm really sorry that he's going through this, and it was so good to see him in New York.
In closing, what's next for you with this whole journey?
Well, I don't know. I would like to perhaps get a big party at Prior Aviation, perhaps when he comes home. I'm just not sure if he's ready for that kind of treatment, but I know back in the 90s and the Super Bowl days, there'd be a bunch of people at Prior Aviation, welcome home.
Yep. That
would be kind of cool, but we'll see how things go day by day.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show and for keeping us posted, and
thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate it.
Well, you're part of the great, huge prayer chain that's not going on right now for Jim Kelly.
Yes, we are, and let's keep that going.
Okay. When we come back, Steve Manson's going to be talking hockey right after this.